He's back. Former President Barack Obama wading into midterm politics now after spending most of his post-presidency largely steering clear of politics. That's ending. On Wednesday, the former president and First Lady Michelle Obama released a list of 81 Democrats they're endorsing ahead of this year's midterms. Notable endorsements include Georgia governor candidate Stacey Abrams, Nevada Senate candidate Jackie Rosen, New Mexico congressional candidate Deb Haaland. But there's also a lot of buzz today about notable absences. Texas Senate candidate Beto O'Rourke and New York congressional candidate Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez not on this first list of endorsements. Lynn Sweet is Washington bureau chief for the Chicago Sun-Times. Jonathan Allen, national political reporter for NBC News Digital. Great to see both of you. Here's what you wrote, Lynn, quote, "A Democrat endorsing a Democratic nominee is routine. What the Obama list signifies is who Obama is going to do something to help in advance of the November midterms." So what's your take on this list as it stands?
Well, it includes kind of categories of people, but the most important category is that Obama's gone to some lengths, Chris and John, to avoid being a divisive figure within the struggling Democratic Party as it tries to figure out its own future course. And the
so meaning the mainstream, for lack of a better word, Democrats and the socialist, more Bernie Sanders wing, that fight, he's not going to find himself in the middle of it.
Right, and he has most of the people on the 81 names listed have already become the nominees. They are already the endorsees, so there's no controversy there. And some of the names you mentioned right now, he just has the easy out of saying, well, this is just the first batch. Eric Schultz, the spokesman, told me there'll be other batches. So they try to minimize it, which I think right now is true because he wants to go where he's helpful. The point is to win seats, governorships, and state legislative bodies. So in that case, so Dems can have a big hand in remap after the 2020 census.
Do we assume he's helpful, though, Jonathan? I mean, one of the things that I always think about is I followed most of his appearances for Hillary Clinton. And in many of the places where he went, as I went down the line and talked to people, the majority of people were there to see in person an historic president. They were not there to back Hillary Clinton. Now, obviously, he can raise a lot of money. He's great at that. But will going out and being on the campaign trail, do you think, help individual candidates? Will it get people to the polls?
It could get some people to polls, certainly could rally the base. Democratic voters still hold President Obama in high regard. That said, there is limited utility and value to endorsements. You're not able to, as President Obama, say you're endorsing a candidate and, suddenly, hundreds of thousands of people come out of the woodwork to vote for them. I would say in looking at this list, and there were some other notable omissions, and it gets to this point of who is he going to help?
Yeah.
You didn't have Joe Donnelly, the senator from Indiana. You didn't have Senator Tester from Montana to Senator Manchin from West Virginia, Senator McCaskill from Missouri, or Senator Heitkamp from North Dakota. Those are the Democratic incumbents in the most competitive races in the country, and also running in states that are Republican. Obviously, Barack Obama doesn't carry the same weight there that he does in some of the more Democratic areas. And of course, he also made some endorsements of people who had helped him in the past that are in marginal races in places that are more likely to go Democratic. Tom Malinowski in New Jersey is a good example of that, had worked at the State Department under Obama.
Ben Rhodes, who of course is the former Deputy National Security Advisor and arguably spent as much, if not more time than almost anybody else in the Obama White House with the president, and still he just got back from being with him in Kenya, where he did the big speech for Nelson Mandela's birthday, was on Morning Joe this morning, and he talked about the challenge facing Barack Obama. Let me play that for you.
Part of the problem that we had the last 8 years is that not enough leaders emerged. Obama took up a lot of space, and the Clintons took up a lot of space. And I think part of his calculus is, look, if I'm out there every day having this fight, I'm going to take up all the space that we need new leaders to step into, right? So it's that balance of how do I not be this guy who's owning the field here? I'm doing my part, and I'm telling my part of the story here, but I want to make sure that we get some new blood out there.
How much of a balancing act do you think this is for Obama?
Well, first of all, Ben Rhodes still works for Obama.
Yep.
He's a member of his post-presidential staff, and that is what he was He was talking about one of the pillars of the Obama post-presidency is to grow the leadership that he didn't grow when he was in the White House for 8 years. Let's look at it that way. Democrats lost seats, state level, local level, national level, all during the 8
and we
years
should
of the
say,
Obama
Lynn, on this
presidency.
list, which is interesting, it goes way down ballot. It goes to legislative seats.
And that's because of the redistricting battles ahead after the 2020 census. So if one part of post-Obama presidency is growing young leaders around the world, another one is to join with his Attorney General, Eric Holder, his first Attorney General, in this redistricting organization that they're involved in to try and get these state legislators and governors. And also the other bucket on this list of 81, as you and John know, are some 20 candidates who are just alumni of the Obama White House or of his campaigns.
So what do you think, real quickly here, Jonathan Allen? I mean, he's not going to go out there and say Trump, 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 Trump. That's just not who he is or what he's going to do. But what will his message be?
Well, I think his message to Democrats is going to be that they've got to show up so that they can, first counter the Trump policies, and he may not use the president's name, maybe he will, but first to counter them and then to start moving in a more democratic direction. Barack Obama left the Democratic Party with its smallest footprint in this country in history in terms of legislative seats in Congress, and the presidency having flipped to Republicans, and that's not necessarily a reflection on the American public's feelings about him, but certainly the reaction in some cases to his policies and the inability of Democrats beyond him to win elections.
Yeah, I also wonder if just him showing up, just him being there, being Barack Obama, doesn't send a message to the base. Remember what a different kind of presidency looked like, and if that's not motivating just in and of itself. We shall see.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.